Hello friends, you are welcome to Anchor Network where you get updates of things happening around you. I appreciate every one of you that have subscribed to this channel, and if you have not subscribed, I say thank you very much because I know that at the end of this news you are going to subscribe, and I want you to press the red button and also the bell icon so that you'll be notified anytime we publish any news. Thank you very much once again.
Buhari can't force Fulani vigilantes on Igbo, says Shettima. Alhaji Shettima Yerima, an activist, is the president of the Arewa Youth Consultative Forum. In this encounter, Yerima answers questions on alleged criminality of Esme and the general insecurity across the nation. He speaks on the move by the federal government to ban the Amajiri system and insecurity, to stem insecurity, and the controversial decision of Miyetti Hala to establish what it calls the Fulani Vigilante Services in the southeast Igbo land, among other issues in the polity. When you look around and hear the lamentations of citizens over the activities of alleged killer Esme operating in different cells across Nigeria, how do you feel? And he said, indeed, every Nigeria is worried about the general insecurity in the country and the activities of killer Esme. Esme have been always there, but they are challenged on the issue of criminality. In fact, Northerners are the most victims of the crimes going on in the country. We have suffered it the most, despite the fact that we have one of our own heading the country. We have the issue of banditry, kidnapping, insurgency, and so on and so forth. Today, we have taken a major part of it. Don't forget that the rate of unemployment is high in the northern parts of the country. The rate of which being out of school is high in the north part of the country, and at the same time the poverty is even higher in the north than in any part of this country. So today one would begin to wonder what is really happening, despite the fact that one of our own is in power. What we have come to realize is that it has been so clear is that the people we have today in sensitive positions that are supposed to govern the government are not serious, or can be best described as lacking the political will to address some of these fundamental issues. You don't just expect people to be roaming the streets with hunger and expect crime rates to be low. You do not expect them to be jobless and you expect to have peace. You don't expect not to have people put something that will reduce the effect of poverty in the northern parts of the country and expect any meaningful results. And when you look at the policy of the government and what they think, it is the opposite of what they should do. Certainly, you can also be in line with the realities on ground. You can be rest assured that we are going to see more trouble on the way, because I have not seen the government having the will. I have not seen them determined to look at the issues critically and accept that responsibility of their failure and be open to take advice to move forward. Yes, but you know, in the past regime, Jonathan's regime, he said he had this kind of Amajiri system of education, but they didn't follow it up. The whole thing was a waste of just recently the government spoke about abolishing Amajiri system. Do you think it will help in any way to make things right? He said it will not make things better. Even the Amajiri idea, some of us was opposed to it at the beginning. We opposed it in the sense that what the government would have done was not just to carve an enclave and call it the Amajiri school or whatever, isolating the children. What I thought was the government would have come up with a brilliant idea to empower the children at the time, remove them from streets and take them back to school. The idea was brilliant, but in a situation where you target the Amajiri school, it will not go well. What we were thinking the government would do is to put up a program, to put up public schools where these Amajiri children, because they are the children of other human beings, would be integrated into the educational system, and to put a law that every parent that is found wanting, not sending the children to school, and the children are found on the streets during school hours, should be penalized. If it is possible in the south, it is also possible in every part of the country. I know that in Lagos there is a law. A child will not be seen on the streets moving on a normal school day until it is 4 o'clock. So it is possible. That is law. So the government should have made it in such uniformed way by stating that a child must go to school, and that if a child is found on the street roaming, hawking, or begging, the parent will be responsible, arrested, and will be prosecuted. With that law, though people are bound to resist it, at the end of the day, we will accept because the people will comply. Some of us had a reservation at that time, but when government was busy doing it, we felt that it was better to do it than not to do anything at all, even if some of us saw this mistake coming. But if the government says it will abolish the system, then you know there's a problem. It is either they do not have good advisors or they are confused. I think the president means well on this, because you said that instead of Jonathan establishing Amajori schools, the children should have been integrated into the educational system. You know that these people are always on the move. They do not stay in one place. So now, if the president decides to do it the way Jonathan would have wanted it done, perhaps that would have been a problem also. Don't you think the president means well? I don't think the president means well. If he means well, what did he put in place to convince us that what was there before is not good as, and your new idea is better than that was brought in the past? Maybe he wants them to mix with the normal school system like you are saying. Was there any procurement to that effect after abolishing what was before? Was there any law that was enacted? Not to my knowledge though. Some of these children are in the cities of Lagos. I mean, in places like Yaba or Oyigbo. There are public schools around them, and in other places, if they are registered in such schools, will they integrate? What is the effort of the government with regard to that? Can you take a child to school without making provision for feeding? What does it take to feed the children? The federal government is already feeding the school children. Yes, the program is dead already, dead on arrival. But the parents are to be blamed, even though the government did not put any measures on ground that will manage and engage the parents. I will tell you something that happened many years ago. There was a megad in my house who has some little children. Sometimes these children will come to my house, watch television, and even play, and will later go back to their father. So one day I went to meet their father and asked if I could register the children in school. His answer was no. I told him that these children's friends go to school and that there's even a school close to the compound. He still refused, stating that what they teach in school is what he sees in reality, because they usually travel from place to place. So I think it is the mentality of the people. So do you think what your megad feels is what every other parent feels? I suppose your megad has a mental problem, and so the problem of the megad cannot be seen to be the general problem of the northerners. This is where we are missing the point. One idiot who is not exposed to the ways of the Western world should not be used to show that the same problem happens to every northerner. Maybe he is not even in Nigeria, but somebody from Chad or something. So how can you now assume that this is what other northerners think? But the parents inform, for example, Yaba and Oyigbo see other children going to school, but don't they aspire for the children to be like those? He said, I'm not in position to answer what they think, but I'm just telling you as a leader what I feel. You cannot tackle insecurity in the midst of unemployment. You cannot tackle insecurity in the midst of high level of poverty in the land. You cannot tackle security when there is common saying that a hungry man is an angry man. So crime will continue to increase because the government has lost direction. There is no clear policy introduced by this government that is clearly defined, and that is not for the betterment of tomorrow. Let us be very honest with it. So to an extent, all of us have to rise up to fight it. As I speak to you today, the major part of the problem is even the northern parts of the country, despite the fact that it is presumed that one of our own is leading the country. The issue is creeping into the southwest, where the governors and traditional rulers are collaborating with the OPC to dispatch people into the forest, where those causing insecurity are hiding. Some people have perceived that we are living in a failed state where nothing is working. Nigeria has failed. Buhari is believed to have favored the north more than the south. So how come these issues are happening more on that side of the divide. He said, I am surprised at the way you are talking. We are talking about a crime here where it is obvious that those saddled with the responsibility of tackling it have failed. The the system is not working. North, south, east, or west, the system has failed. When people sit down and they say and they say they are so hungry and they look at a man who today is just a councillor buying houses everywhere, you expect them to keep silence? A man who is just a local government chairman is buying houses and marrying different wives everywhere. Just recently, we have a governor who got married to two wives before his swearing in. Why people are hungry, and you think those people who are hungry will fold their arms and allow them to do it? Let me tell you something. Even I cannot exonerate myself in times to come if measures are not taken, because it is obvious that the voices on the streets are very hungry and hungry. The troubles we are faced with today, I may survive it probably for one reason or the other, but we are going to leave a serious burden to the children unborn. The children will have to suffer from the mistake we are committing today. So worrying isn't even about me, because I have done my best for the society. I have paid my dues. But my worry is that in what condition am I going to leave my family? What will happen to my children if I am not alive today, because I foresee danger ahead of time? I worry for my children, not myself right now. Yes, because I see threat. I see a disposition whereby those children who are being ignored out there, who in one way or the other government has refused to put policies on ground to touch their lives positively, are going to turn against my children and hold my children to ransom. This is what I see coming. Now, the house I built to stay with my family would at the end of the day run out and leave those bandits to take over. I foresee this coming. The issue is for all hands to be on deck. We have to wake up, because this is a clarion call to face the realities of the danger we are in already. It is a ticking time bomb, and it is better we wake up to face the reality. But we do not know that. We just fold our arms and look at it. It's a problem of individual or the other. You cannot resist. You cannot rest assured. You can be rest assured that this will continue the whole country. We may wake up one day and see that there is no Nigeria again. God forbid. No Nigeria if measures are not taken. But are you aware that the traditional rulers from Kogi followed him to Aso Rock to beg Buhari to give him another chance? It's talking about Belu. There's something about the youth. Youth are the ones, are the leaders. The youth are always asking of power, but the young ones, given the opportunity, have succeeded failing the power abuse. And like Governor Yaya Bello, who has gone to beg Buhari, just for him to be put back in the second term. The Southeast against Fulani Vigilante Service being proposed by Fulani Miyetti Allah. It is for the Southeast to decide, and the state government also. The governors should also say, no, we don't want your vigilante. It is simple issue and not one to generate controversy. No constitution states that you must force vigilante on people if they refuse. There is no drama about it, even if it is out of goodwill. If you feel that that goodwill is not okay for you, tell them you do not want their service. It is as simple as that. I used to think this Amajiri system represents the Islamic doctrine of learning or something. Islamic learning is totally against it. No vision of Islam or the Quran allows or permits anyone to go out and beg. It is not Islamic. Quote me anywhere. There is no version of the Quran that supports begging. Islam is totally against begging. Those are self-centered people doing it for their selfish interests, going about begging because they are weak, they are lazy, and they don't want work to earn a living. So guys, you've heard this all. I would like you guys to put down your comments, based on what Shettima has said. He talked about a lot of things, even the vigilante, that the Igbos have the right to reject it. So put down your comments. Thank you.